We are seeing good gains coming in for Hang Seng, second day running, so that one is up around 103 points.
Gross NPAs of all scheduled commercial banks will not even touch double digits by next year. That is according to the macro stress test conducted by the RBI.
This is the first of the profitable new businesses to hit IPO.
A fresh swing for the Nifty starts if you close above 17,250 or you close below 17,150.
There is no cause for panic. There is a cause of concern. There is a cause of vigil. We need to be cautious and vigilant.
The Nifty is down 21 points, 17,183.
Our preference would be more towards names like HCL Technologies and Tech Mahindra.
January 2021. The Supreme Court stayed the implementation of 3 farm laws after multiple rounds of talks between the government and protesting farmers failed.
Directionless year-end sort of trade playing out.
When either of the two promoters want to sell their shares or transfer their shares to a third entity, they do not have to give notice to each other.
जीएसटी में जो टैक्स बढ़ाया गया है 5% का 12%, वो उद्योग के लिए और छोटे खरीदारों के लिए ठीक नहीं है.
We met the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister today and we highlighted the adverse economic situation that the film business and the exhibition business has been going through as a result of multiple lockdowns that we've had.
For now, holding okay in the green.
You're entering the future-ready CNBC-TV18 EBIX Cash Studio.
Okay, I can tell you it's expiry week. The screen might not tell you that, but it's just perhaps the most sleepy of the expiries that I've seen as in terms of the market action. Almost comatose, as if, just doesn't want to move within a 30-40 point band. And if you see the last 10-15 minutes, the range that we spoke about this morning as well, 17,150 to 250, that's holding. And of course, within that, you've seen individual stocks move. IT once again doing well. Reliance has seen quite a bit of selling pressure today. Of course, that's dragged the market. But otherwise, really tough to find individual names. Unless, of course, you are in some outperformers like Graphite or HEG. But that aside, just a very sleepy kind of a day. Surabhi, hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Anuj. I'm checking my connection every time, just wondering if my screen is refreshing or not, because stocks simply aren't moving the way they normally do on a regular trading session. But yeah, take your point. It's very quiet, but we don't know. Remember what happened last 20 minutes yesterday? Not sure if something like that will play out around expiry at around 3 p.m. We'll see. We'll watch out. Individual movers, always you'll find some flyers here and there. Anuj mentioned HEG and Graphite. Graphite, by the way, is up 17% as we're speaking. You have the odd names when Philips Carbon is up 6%. Intellect Design Arena is up about 8.5%, 9%. So Quick Heal is up 6%. So individual mid caps and small caps, you'll still find some movers here and there, but on the large cap screen, it's been very, very quiet. So Anuj, this is just sort of winding down the year. I guess any real call will only happen next week now.
Oh, absolutely, Surabhi. This is one of those markets where you get your scalping trades, perhaps. If you're good at it, or you boil it down to individual stocks, and even within that, it's very tough to make money because the follow through has been missing. The markets focus clearly on pharma, the diagnostics, all these kind of stocks, because this belief is even if it's a mild sort of variant, you'll still require testing, you'll still require perhaps treatment. So that's why you're seeing that bit of move on some of these names. But otherwise, yes, I think the next month or next year when you come back, I think the volumes would pick up. You'll start countdown to earnings season as well. There's going to be Fed meet lined up, a couple of important events lined up. So I think next month promises to be really crucial and perhaps will give us a direction after all.
Yeah, we'll wait by for that. Right now, we have to look at sort of the individual moves and shakers of the day. Let's take a look at what's lined up over the next 60 minutes. The market has been trading in a range ahead of the monthly expiry. Mid caps are slightly underperforming the benchmark indices today. In terms of stock action, RBL Bank has tumbled another 8% today. Media reports indicating that there was a loan write-off of about 300 crores. That's making the market a little uncomfortable, and more questions about, of course, the former CEO's exit remain. We will put the spotlight on that story and on that stock as we go ahead. BSE is also under pressure. Brokerage firm Investec has downgraded that stock to a sell. We'll tell you why in just a bit. And of course, as the December series winds down, we look forward to January and the new year. What lies ahead in the F&O market? Siddharth Bhamre of Incred Equities is going to join in. Today, we'll get chatting with Vaibhav Sanghvi of Avendus Capital Alternate Strategies. He's our alpha manager of the day. He's keeping a fairly optimistic outlook for 22, and we will talk to him in the next 20 minutes. Anuj?
Okay, but first up, Mitesh Thakkar is joining us with last hour calls. Mitesh, so tell us, what's your reading of today's trading action so far, and what are your stock calls?
Practically nothing. We've been suggesting avoiding trading on the index, and I think that remains. It's basically you were highlighting pharma stocks. It's pharma to a certain extent, IT doing well, and banking and financials trading on the negative side, with and a Reliance kind of pitching in weight on the upside. So broadly, I think it's a market which is fragmented. Therefore, it's not going anywhere. I think wait for that directional signal to come in. You highlighted some levels. I think I have very similar kind of levels. Below 17,120, I would want to take a short on the futures. Above 17,350, 400, you might see this continuation of this rally. So wait it out. I think most of the indicators are also turning flat. So it might be a few more days of consolidation and a range bound kind of an activity. For the timing, I have a buy on Emphasis. That's a buy with a stop at 3,300 for targets of around 3,500. And NTPC is giving a good reversal from oversold levels. So that's a buy as well. Keep a stop at about 124 here and a target of around 129 on the upside.
Okay, got that, Mitesh. Thank you very much for the trading calls. We'll come back to you in just a bit. Let's get started with really the stock of the day. Once again, it is RBL Bank, and you just saw it on the screen. It's down about 8%. There have been a lot of reports in the media suggesting that there's an issue with one particular loan, which was about 300 odd crores, and it was written off very quickly after being sanctioned. We're still awaiting more clarity from the bank. Let's go across to Abhishek for more details on what's been going on today. More concerns, Abhishek?
Well, Surbhi, as you mentioned, there are news reports which suggest that rupees 300 crore worth of loan was written off in 7 months of it being sanctioned or disbursed. So it was one of the key reasons why the regulator did interfere in the bank. And, the loan was given to a company which was part of consortium of lenders in 2018. So RBI has been seeking details with the bank with respect to the exposure for past few months. However, they have not got a satisfactory reply yet. So on 25th December, Yogesh Dayal, who is the RBI appointed additional director in the bank, did say that, the continuation of CEO of Vishwavir Ahuja has become untenable. So RBI has no choice but to supersede the board like it did for Yes Bank and Lakshmi Vilas Bank if Ahuja did not step down immediately. And he gave an ultimatum of, Ahuja to leave the bank by Saturday, over there. So we have written to the bank. However, they responded saying that they refuse to comment on this story. Back to you.
Okay, thanks Abhishek for that. Devin Choksi is joining us from KR Choksi Securities. Devin, hi, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Your thoughts on whether the price action is almost eerily similar to Yes Bank, but your thoughts on whether this could be slightly different. One could look at sort of bargain buy here, or is it a complete avoid?
Hi Anuj, good afternoon. Well, the last quarter results, I think when we saw the company's business and reviewed the financial numbers, on every parameters, I think the company has suggested that I think the financials are very much in place, and I think nothing wrong with that. So from that perspective, one wants to carry on this agreement further. Yes, I think there may be some situations of irregularity which probably has forced RBI to put the strict monitoring onto the bank and put in the director and I think take necessary actions. Whether it will be all bad, I do not know. I think at least no confidence on that front. But I would think that I think suppose if some of the transactions which are so-called bad transactions, I think those transactions, suppose if they are identified and the remedial actions are planned, then probably I think the clarity would emerge. At this point of time, without clarity, if one wants to buy into the bank, I think it will be a little longish waiting period as I see it, I think. And that's where probably I think I will keep an eye on it and maybe look at a company from a buying perspective a little later once a little more clarity emerges.
Okay, so that's a take on RBL Bank. Devin, good afternoon. Thanks for joining in, and season's greetings to you. Hope you're getting ready to celebrate in the comfort and safety of your home. The other interesting stock is, of course, Reliance. We did discuss it a couple of days back as well. There's interesting pressure on it. Maybe it's just the technical expiry-related phenomena playing out. But as you're looking at 2022, what lies ahead for this giant, given everything that's going on in all of its three verticals?
Yeah, good afternoon, Surabhi, and season's greetings to you as well. Well, I guess I think Reliance's journey is very, very clear. On one side, their entire geo platform is very smartly moving. At this point of time, as we are talking, I think they've integrated probably, I think, more than 1 million merchants into their platform. So basically, the retail business, I think, which is carrying out, I think, through the Kirana stores and all, I think those Kirana store merchants have been integrated into their platform. On one side, you have got the enterprise solutions, and on the other side, I think the payment, which they will be soon integrating, as our understanding says. If these two things get together, then probably I think a complete omni-channel model gets established, and that could possibly drive the business much smarter. Because I think assuming that you end up acquiring 2 million Kirana store merchants, and assuming that I think you are talking about 5 lakh rupees worth of credit per merchant per month, I think you're talking of a loan book size which is far more significant, and I think this could create, I think, simply a new model, which is a banking model for this company as well. So this is one area where I feel more comfortable going forward, where I think the business clarity has emerged very stronger. On the other side, the 5G rollout taking place in 2022 would mean, I think, the newer applications which will come on board. And I guess I think the company is probably ready for rolling out new applications in a different vertical, be it agriculture, healthcare, media, entertainment. I guess in each of the verticals, I think they are ready for rolling out the applications. So that is again, I think, going to be driving a faster growth. And last but not the least, I think going forward, not in 2022, but in 23, we would be seeing some progress reported on the new products, I think, which are coming up on the green energy side. That company would probably, I think, show relatively better clarity at that point of time. So Reliance looks, I think, absolutely clear as far as investment is concerned. And I would think that around 25% kind of CAGR growth in the price from current level is distinctly possible in this company should one remain invested for at least 3 to 4 years from now.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on then. BSE is under pressure. There's a downgrade in the morning from Investec. Nimesh, of course, has more details on that. Nimesh?
Hi, Rich. So yes, the stock is down 2% today. But just to put into perspective, this year in 2021, the stock is almost double. So it's rallied more than 200%. So on back of that, it's a small fall of 2%. But after the big up move, given the current valuations, what they are at very expensive levels, there's a bit of a downgrade coming in from Investec. So they've downgraded the stock to a sell now from hold, and they have target price of 1720. Now they believe even cyclically earnings are going to peak out, and the valuations are untenable at current levels. So in fact, Investec is expecting a sequential decline in earnings in FY23, and the stock is currently trading at very expensive valuation. So it's basically at a significant premium to the global peers. So on FY23 estimated earnings, the stock is trading at 45 times price to earning, whereas all the global peers, the global stock exchanges are trading at an average of close to 24 times FY23 earnings. So on back of declining earnings and the fact that it's trading at expensive valuations, a tactical downgrade from Investec to a sell now with a target price of 1720.
Okay, Nimesh, thanks a lot for that update. Just look at some more names now. Graphite and HEG both surging. I think the rally started the day before, and yesterday I think it was a bit of a consolidation, but today once again 18% higher on Graphite. I think 10% higher is what you have on HEG. And the other stock to track, of course, has been the listing, Supriya. That is also doing quite well in trade. That's, of course, the API play. I spoke about it that day, perhaps, a good play on the API front. Supriya Life, 510. So, big move, almost 20% up yesterday, up 10% today, and had a good listing as well. Devan, this has been a blockbuster listing. Any thoughts?
Yeah, Anuj, I think the company remains promising. Of course, I think we haven't had the detailed interaction with the management of the company so far, but I think it remains promising as we read the entire company when they entered the IPO. And I think the entire space, particularly I think the API space, remains, I think, quite convincing in the pharma. So from a perspective of looking at this company from the investment point of view, yes, I would think that I think there is a good potential. We have been liking this space for some time. I think the API space in which Lauros or Divis and now this Supriya and some other companies. I think we liking this particular space, and we believe that I think the companies that are in API or in CRAMS, I think are likely to show relatively better performance. Maybe 1 or 2 quarters where they might see some amount of raw material pressure. But overall, I believe that I think the companies could possibly show relatively better performance going forward. So yes, I think clearly, I think the potential is high as far as the life is concerned.
Okay, by the way, I just want to point out the move on Oil India that's underway as we speak. Big spike coming up in Oil India. In any case, we know that prices, crude oil prices internationally have been moving higher. There was a drawdown in inventories yesterday in the US. So in general, Brent has been hovering closer to 80. Oil India is showing a bit of that big move as we speak. ONGC relatively is more muted. ONGC is up only about 1% or so. Any thoughts on these upstream companies? I mean, Oil India is a very clear play on that. ONGC is also actually showing a little bit of traction now. Deven, would you look at the upstream plays at all?
So, Surabhi, I think there is no harm in looking at these companies. They are relatively, I think, better placed with steady to better oil prices. However, I think the challenge remains about attracting the funds into this space, because larger amount of institution funds, they don't easily enter into this particular space, and as a result of which the follow of buying, I think, remains a miss, I think, in this particular space. In my viewpoint, I think if one wants to relook at this particular space and re-rating of some of these companies, I don't see immediately any reason, except that I think in 2022, some amount of allocation of money can happen into this space under a variety of considerations. Maybe government wants to monetize some of its assets and indirect benefit going into some of the companies. I think these are some of the considerations on which I think some money gets allotted. I think I would be surprised. But otherwise, serious money for long-term investment are not getting allocated to these companies at least in the near future. We have seen that. So I will remain, I think, skeptical about it. Otherwise, fundamentals are remaining relatively better than before as far as I think the business is concerned.
Okay, fair enough. The mid-cap side of the market today has seen a bit of a cool off. At index level, the advanced decline is still fairly even at about 1:1. But if you look at the mid-cap index itself, that's down about 0.5%. And the top traded stocks, most of them are in the red, except for Suzlon, which is really in a league of its own right now, the way it's rallying. What else? Sugar stocks have also rallied, so a couple of these stocks also looking quite interesting. Deven, so before we let you go, just wanted your thoughts on how to approach Z now as we head into next month. Perhaps we'll know what Invesco's call is, but your thoughts, because from the recent highs, it's cooled off a bit.
So, Anuj, I think from the perspective of looking at both these companies, Sony and Z put together, I think it becomes a very strong proposition from the business point of view. In fact, some of the properties of Sony, when integrated with Z, I think could possibly give you some superlative results going forward. So business prospect-wise, I think there is no second thought that this is a winner, kind of a win-win kind of a merger between the two companies. Maybe I think the stock prices have gone up to an extent. So for some time, I think you might see the correction in the price. Maybe time correction also would happen. But ultimately, I think we see that this space remains relatively more stronger on the valuation side. So any correction in the price could be a buy opportunity at lower levels.
Okay, got that. Deven, stay on. We'll have more questions for you in just a bit. Right now, I need to take a very quick break. We'll be back on the other side. And we will, of course, get chatting with Vaibhav Sanghvi, talk about the themes to focus on in the new year 2020.